All right, now I'm dealing with the case of a doctor, a Victorian general practitioner, Dr. Jereth Kok, a Christian man, who on the 22nd of August 2019 was suspended from practice, and he's not seen his patients since. So that's been 8 months. You know, about a week ago, he lost an appeal against that with VCAT, the Victorian Civil and Administrative Appeals Tribunal, and it was an appeal to save his medical registration and his career. The board and VCAT claimed that the action was, quote, in the public interest. That was the basis for them taking this action against him. They noted further that there was no evidence that Jereth had compromised any patient's best interests in practice. They actually noted that he had excellent character references. And they also noted that his conduct was in no way criminal or illegal. So here's the question. What on earth has happened? What's he done? Well, using its investigative powers, the board had paid forensic experts to compile a dossier on Jereth's social media activity and internet history over a period of more than a decade. Jereth was a vigorous participant in political debate and social commentary. His views would be characterised as conservative. His tone would be characterised as strong. He wrote concerning many matters, including areas relevant to medical practice like abortion, transgenderism, particularly in relation to the affirmative treatment model in children, LGBT matters, and the usual, hot-button controversies that we're all aware of. The board said that his posts were arguably denigrating on a simple reading of them, appearing to express certain views when read in isolation, and that they would arguably demean LGBTI people, arguably denigrate other practitioners like abortionists, arguably incite violence. They said patients may see them and reconsider their relationship with Jereth. They said that they were concerned about the level of respect he can bring to members of the medical profession. They said that the community may not be able to accept that he can provide respectful care. This, despite the fact that Jereth could agree to remove posts and be careful about his tone in the future and was prepared to do so. Notice that there's no defined complaint. There's no identifiable harm. There's no illegal act. There is no provable impact on the medical profession. There's no tangible result and causal connection to wrongdoing. There is a might and a may and an arguably and potentially. There is a we did not like his political views, so we have ruined his livelihood, changed the course of his life, and done so with no regard to his loyal patients or his family, including his 2 young children. Jereth may have been strident at times, yes. He may be able to moderate his tone and try to be nicer, yes. He may be able to self-censor, but they haven't even given him the chance. He hasn't worked in 8 months and may never work in his chosen profession ever again, which, by the way, as we all know, is extremely hard to get into, takes years and years of study, and is not easy to pivot out of. It's not in the public interest to lose doctors, much less doctors in good standing with their patients and their colleagues, which he was, much less doctors who have families to feed. And it's not in the public interest to ruin people simply because they have said something unpopular, which you, and by you I mean VCAT, I mean the medical board, which they do not like. Not anyone who actually matters, not a patient, not a colleague. They've accrued to themselves a little bit of power, a little bit of authority, and they've decided that they can just finish people because they disagree with them on the basis of might and possibly and arguably and potentially. Let's be clear about this. This is not about the public. If it were about the public, there would be evidence of public harm. It's about them, it's about you, the medical board, VCAT, and their prejudices. All Jereth ever did was speak. He never mistreated anyone. He never did anything to hurt anyone, exclude them, disadvantage them. He actually just talked about things. He made posts on the internet. He wrote articles for online papers and this kind of thing. And yet he's been excluded. He's been hurt. He's had his family disadvantaged. He's been mistreated, discriminated against on the basis of his beliefs in a more devastating way that he could ever have achieved. They talk of discrimination. Well, one party in this picture has been discriminated against and it wasn't. And it was Jereth. They talk of exclusion. One party in this picture has been excluded. It was Jereth. They talk of harm. One party in this picture has caused demonstrable harm. It wasn't Jereth. It was those that have sacked him. And I'm getting a little bit tired of this kind of thing. We see it all the time. Bureaucrats, people who have just managed to build up a little bit of power. And what do they decide to do? They decide to meddle And they decide to say that because, well, they've got a bit of power and they disagree with someone, they can finish them in ways that are totally and utterly disproportionate, in ways that show no evidence of anyone actually being hurt, and even when there is absolutely no complainant. This is going on far too much. And that's the medical board for you, and I can confirm that the medical board is no stranger to this kind of activity, and that those in the health profession need to be aware of it. But, you know, I think that if Jereth wants to appeal this, I think he probably should, then certainly we would give him all the support that he needs. And indeed, the Human Rights Law Alliance would stand ready to help to make sure that that can be done, because it would be the right thing to do. Hey guys, make sure you click like to like the video, or hit the subscribe button down here and click on the bell so you don't miss any notifications. And to watch more videos, just click here. Cheers. Go on, click one. You know you want to.